Badass of the Week is produced by High Five Content.
August 5th, 2010. The Atacama Desert, Chile. Deep underground, a half-mile below the Andes Mountains, Luis Urzura is hard at work. He's the shift foreman, overseeing operations as his team harvests copper ore from the depths of the mine. Generators hum, machines drill into the copper vein, and men dig and sift. Urzura checks his clipboard, holding it up against one of the electric lights to double-check the shift schedule. Then, there's a low rumble. An ominous tremor shakes the ground. Men slow their work, then stop, and look nervously around at one another. What was that? Then, suddenly, another rumble. Louder. The earth shakes as hundreds of tons of earth and rock shift around the miners. Now the men are truly afraid. What is happening? Luis Urzura drops his clipboard as the rumblings increase. He has got to get his men to safety. It's his job to keep them alive. And the decisions he will make in the next few moments could be the difference between life and death. Hello, and welcome back to Badass of the Week, the show where we tell the badass history of badasses. My name is Ben Thompson, and I am joined once again by my co-host, Dr. Pat Larish. Pat, welcome back on the show. I hear things are chilling out in Boston. It's not quite so hot these days.
Yes. Yeah, the heat wave broke yesterday.
Oh,
so
good.
we are very relieved. Yes, but I went through a lot of seltzer water. That's my drink of choice during heat waves. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Yeah, it's important. You got to stay hydrated. That's going to come up in this episode.
It will indeed, yes.
It's going to get warm in the areas that we're talking about here too. We're going to be in the Atacama Desert, so that's a good place to stay hydrated as well, which is not always easy, as we will see. Today we're going deep, and I don't mean metaphorically. I mean literally, to a depth of 2,000 feet below the Chilean desert. We are going to be talking about a story of impossible survival against unbelievable odds. And it's a story that we are coming up on the 15-year anniversary of the Chilean mining disaster from 2010. It was, a great testament to the human spirit and to perseverance and to all of the things that we espouse when we talk about badass. And it was also kind of a unifying thing that brought the world together to try to help save 33 miners who found themselves trapped underneath the desert, 2,000 feet, which is, as you're going to talk about in a minute, is a lot farther than you'd think. 2,000 feet is really deep.
Yes, yeah. Should we have a trigger warning for claustrophobia? Although I suppose the title of the episode will tip you off that we'll be talking about dark enclosed spaces far below the surface of the earth.
Yes, so. Yes. If you have fears of being buried alive or claustrophobia or anything like that, be aware that this is going to involve some tight spaces. And so I guess we should say that. Anyway, We are going to take a really quick commercial break. And when we get back, we are going to tell the story of the Chilean mining disaster. Welcome back to Badass of the Week. We are heading to South America for today's story. We are going to through the deserts of Chile and the San Jose mine, Pat.
Yeah. Near the southern end of the Atacama Desert, just to the west of the Andes Mountains, is the San Jose mine. Now, I say Atacama Desert, it's actually pretty high above sea level. The San Jose mine is one of many copper mines in Chile. The nation is the world's top producer of copper, but our mine is one of the smaller ones. Even so, the mine extends deep down into the earth, about 800 meters or 2,300 feet. That's like half a mile, right?
Like half a mile,
Ish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't seem that far. And so you think, oh, okay, half a mile, that's not too bad. I can walk a half a mile in a few minutes. But this isn't horizontal distance. This is vertical gain or descent in this case, which is significantly more intense. You don't want to climb a 2,300 foot mountain.
No.
It takes you a lot longer than it would take you to run a half mile.
Yes. Yeah. And since the entrance to the mine is up in the mountains, the bottom of the mine, even though it's 2,300 feet down, it's actually around sea level, which kind of blew my mind when I realized that.
Yeah, that's wild. Because we're up in the mountains. We're at the, we're high up in the desert. So you think desert, you think sea level, but this is a desert at the top of the Andes Mountains. So you're climbing all the way down. And as we were talking before, like this isn't a vertical descent. You don't just go down in an elevator.
No. And speaking of vertical travels in an elevator, how vertical is 2,300 feet? Imagine the Burj Khalifa, the skyscraper in Dubai.
Yeah, the tallest building in the world.
Yeah, that's 163 stories tall, and that's about roughly the same height.
Whoa. So it's the tallest building in the world, but it's underground.
Yeah. So imagine, like, the Burj Khalifa is 163 floors. So I guess for this mine, imagine going down into the 163rd sub basement.
Yeah, Burj Khalifa is like a little bit taller, 27. Yeah, but not much, right? Wow, yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. Like this is this is very much the ballpark. And with the Burj Khalifa, you have, a comfortable elevator. I've never been, but I imagine it's very luxurious and comfortable, and you can count on the air supply being reliable. Mm-hmm. And when you get to whatever floor,
there's refreshments.
You can get refreshments. Yeah, and you can always get off and leave at any time, and that's not what's happening here.
No. I'm looking it up now, and the Empire State Building, maybe for people who need a little bit better reference, Empire State Building is 1,400 feet to the tip of the point of the Empire State Building. And this is 2,300 feet. It's 700. It's like 1.5 Empire State Buildings.
Yeah.
That's wild. Or 1.25.
And you don't get a spacious panoramic view from the mine.
No, you're down. You're in a cave, right? You're in a mine.
Yes.
And so, like you said, it's not a vertical path. You can't just, descend in an elevator. It's a long, the length of the mine is significantly farther than 2,300 feet.
Yeah, if you're a miner actually going down to mine copper, you follow a long spiraling path. And so just imagine like this big spiral staircase or whatever going down into the ground. And on one side of the spiral, that's how you access the vein of copper ore. And on the other side of the spiral, just off of the path, at some levels are rooms with various functions. So about 600 meters down, there's a repair shop. About 700 meters down is a refugio, or a shelter or refuge, which is designed to be a place for miners to take shelter in case of emergency.
That seems like a useful thing to have. And the thing with the spiral going down is you drive cars in it. This is a big mine. This is not like when you picture cowboy movies or something. They are driving. They drive trucks through this thing, and so it's big. This is a big mine, and it goes down a really, really long way. And this mine has had some problems in the past. Our story is going to begin on August 5th, 2010, exactly 15 years ago from the date this is going to air. But the mine's already had problems. They've been having some safety issues. There's been a few, some miners have died in the past couple of years from accidents involving poor safety conditions of this mine. Mm-hmm. But the big disaster occurs on August 5th. There's some guys working down there. There's a big shutter, and there is a collapse of the mine. It's one of these things that I imagine like it might not have looked like very much from the surface, a little bit of rumbling and some dust, but thousands of tons of like an incomprehensible amount of rock and dirt collapses on this mine, and enough to fill those giant caverns that trucks can drive through. And when it first happens, there is one guy who was able to escape. He was driving an ore truck, and he drives up. He can hear the rumbling, and he just gets out of there. But he can kind of see the mine collapsing behind him, and word gets out pretty quickly to the surface that something bad has happened. There is a collapse. There are men down there. There are 33 guys down there working. And we don't know when it first starts to happen, we don't know what the situation is. Are these guys alive? Are they dead? Where are they? Where are they working? We don't know anything when the collapse first starts to happen. And there is one guy who I really feel like just goes above and beyond in the name of like being a badass. His name is Alfonso Avalos, and he's a retired miner. He used to work in this mine, but he's retired now. His two sons are down there, Florencio and Renan. They're down in the mine still. And so Alfonso, he's like, look, I know this mine better than anybody. If they're there, I'm going to get them out. I'm going to go get my kid. And so he takes his other son, Wilson, and they drive down to the mine, and they ask the guys at the surface, like, what's going on? We don't know. We don't have any information. So Alfonso's like, cool, everybody that can get with me. And they hook themselves up to rappelling gear, and they abseil down these ventilation tubes. So you'll see, like, he tries to drive into the mine, and as he's driving in his car, he can see it's completely collapsed. There's no way through. So they go back out, and that's when they get their climbing gear on. And in order to ventilate, to get air down to the miners, they have these ventilation holes that kind of vertical tubes that bring air, help give air to the people who are working down there. And so Alfonso and Wilson and a couple other guys get in their climbing gear, and they abseil down one of these things. And as they're dropping down, it's clearly like obvious that this mine is still very unstable. There's like a rumbling, there's movement. It does not feel safe. They get down as far as they can. They can see that the way down though is blocked. That ventilation tube is blocked up, which is really bad for the guys who are down there if they're still alive. And so they climb back up. They're like, okay, well, we got to go do a different ventilation tube. So Alfonso and Wilson Avalos, they get a couple other guys together. They're going to go try a different ventilation tube to get down there and see if they can find the trapped miners. But as they go over there, there's a second collapse, and that second ventilation tube is completely blocked up. And the people who are on the surface, they're like, we can't attempt anything else like this. It's too dangerous. There's a collapse, and we don't know if it's going to keep doing this. We don't want to lose more people. Okay, so what can he do? He sets up a tent. He's like, I'm not going anywhere until I find out if my kid's alive or not. I got 2 kids down there, and I'm not leaving without my sons. And that he starts to kind of get word out to the families of the other people who are trapped down there.
And so Alfonso Avalos, he sets up a tent, and these other families, they want to be around. Maybe they're not retired miners who can abseil down, but they want to be there. They want to know what's going on. They want to offer moral support. They want to pray. They want to just be together. So people start setting up tents, and it grows into an entire tent city. They call it Campamento Esperanza, or Camp Hope, and it grows into a real community. It's pretty clear that the situation is not going to get resolved overnight. So, people bring their kids with them, like their small children. They even set up a schoolhouse, play areas. There are clowns to entertain the kids. And Camp Hope, they set up kitchens, toilets, shrines, private areas where families can avoid the media, because as you can imagine, we have literal clowns, but it's also a media circus. And the local government even sets up bus stops for shuttles, so people can shuttle back and forth between the tent city and Hope, Camp Hope and other towns. Mm-hmm. And a woman named Maria Segovia, whose brother Dario is a drill operator and one of the 33 guys trapped in the mine. She uses her community organizing skills and becomes the unofficial mayor of Camp Hope. So she helps organize things, and she's a spokesperson for the families when necessary. So that's going on.
And that is
surface.
a circus, because the media does show up. They get news of this, and there are people trapped down here. And first, it's local media, the Chilean news, will show up. Oh, there's been a cave-in at the mines, and this will soon become an international story. And so her efforts are important, because you do have these people have lost their husbands and brothers and fathers are trapped down there, and you have. CNN wants a quote, BBC wants a quote, Al Jazeera wants a quote. And so in order to kind of manage that, especially for people with no media training, nothing like that, you have to kind of find a way to balance yes, we want to get the story out. We want people to know that, like, my dad's in there and we want to get him out, but also to respect their privacy. I think it's also something the media is not really known for. But meanwhile, we've got to try to see if we can find these people. We don't know if they're alive. We don't know who's here. Where are these guys?
Yeah. So as you said above, Ben, Alfonso Avalos and his son, they tried two of these ventilation shafts, and they gathered information, which is that they're filled with rocks. There's a risk of additional rock fall, and there has been another collapse. So this whole idea of going down through the ventilation shafts, we can't do that. They need to come up with another plan. So obviously it's more than just Alfonso at this point. We need to be very careful and strategic about this, because we need more intel. The mine is huge. I said it was a small mine, but it's still a commercial mine, so it's huge. So what the rescue team that's being assembled does, they decide to drill exploratory boreholes, which are smaller, so they can find where the miners are and ideally find a way to get them supplies. So these are exploratory boreholes. They're 16 centimeters, a little over 6 inches in diameter. And my unit of measurement for human scale measurements is a can of seltzer. So a can of seltzer is about like 5 inches. So picture like a can of seltzer plus maybe 2 fingers on top of that. Okay. So that's the diameter of the hole that they're boring down. Right.
It's not enough to maybe you could drop sodas down in there, but they don't want it to be very big, because there's a risk that we don't know from the surface right now. We don't know if there's anything left. Did the whole area cave in, or just part of it? Was it just up high, down low? Is there still spaces? We don't know. And you don't want to drill this big giant thing through there that could risk another collapse. Plus, they don't even know what they're aiming at.
Exactly.
And another interesting thing about these exploratory boreholes is that they're being done with equipment that's designed to drill copper or drill mine, to mine stuff. It's not designed for this. So they don't really, it's never been done for this. Oh, we have this one little area that's 2,300 feet down, and we've got to try to hit it with this 6-inch drill bit. That's not really how you do mining. And so this is not really what the equipment's designed for. It's not what the people operating it are trained to do. So this is a Hail Mary. You have people coming here from everywhere. The international media is starting to arrive. All of the Chilean government is arriving. The ministers of mining, ministers of various Chilean ministers are here. The president will eventually be here. So we got to try something. We got to see if we can find these people.
And Ben, as you said, these drill bits, they're designed for copper, but since they're using them in a non-copper way, they bump up against rock that's harder than these drill bits are used to dealing with. Also, the mine, some of the maps of the mine that they have are actually outdated. So there are some updates, there are some things that don't quite match their expectations. And when the drill bit hits rock that's harder, sometimes they get bumped off target. So there are so many ways in which this can
And it's not like you really know what you're looking at. It's not like there's a GPS on that drill bit that you can just kind of visualize on a map with some kind of technology. You're just drilling a hole in the ground and see if you can hit something.
Yep. And then finally, so the initial collapse was August 5th. Right. Finally, on August 19th, that's like, 2 weeks later?
Yes, 2 weeks later. And we know at this point that the guys that are down there, if they were able to make it to one of those refugios, they probably have 2 days worth of emergency food for those 33 guys. So now we're on August 19th. It's been 2 weeks. We're kind of, there's Camp Esperanza is holding out hope. They're sitting vigil. They're praying. But I think people who generally understand how this sort of thing works are pretty convinced they're looking for bodies at this point.
Yeah. So hope for the best, but brace yourself for tragic news. Yeah. So, but finally, August 19th, there's one of these 6-inch wide exploratory holes manages to reach a room, and they send down a probe. And it's one of those refugios. It would make sense it's realistic to expect that you might find miners in there. But what does the probe find in that room? Nothing. Nada. They have to keep searching. So August 22nd, exploratory borehole number 8 is drilling down, 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 and then almost half a mile down, breakthrough. They reach a ramp near one of those refuges. So there's this, So the hole has gone down. The drill bit is down there. The people up on the surface, there's a tapping. There's a tapping on the drill. So the surface crew pulls the drill back up. And there's something attached to the tip of the drill bit. They carefully peel back the insulation tape that's wrapping it around the drill bit. And what do they find?
There is a note handwritten from the miners. We are good in the refugio, all 33.
Oh, wow. I tear up every time I read that. Oh, wow.
So they're alive. All 33 of them are alive. And there's just huge cheering immediately from Esperanza. They're holding it. There's an awesome video of because there's video of all this. The media is there. So there's video of that guy, because they packing taped it. They wrote it and they taped it to the drill bit. So when they pull the bit up and they pull it off, you can see everybody's kind of around to see what the drill bit found. And the guy holds the sign up and he reads it and everybody just goes totally crazy.
Oh, wow.
It's like a miracle, right?
Yeah. Wow. So this exploratory borehole is the right one. They send a video camera down the borehole. They pack, how do you send a video camera down half a mile into the ground? So they have these 5-foot-long blue plastic tube capsules that are skinny enough to slide up and down this 6-inch borehole. And they call it a paloma, which means dove or pigeon, like a carrier pigeon.
Oh, like Cher and me. This is another appearance of carrier pigeons on our show.
Woo! So so these blue plastic palomas, these capsules, are going to do a lot of work over the next several days and weeks.
That's the only way. We found it. We've drug a borehole, but that's not going to you can't fit a person through that.
No. And the surface team, Andre Sugaret, the leader, he has figured out that he needs to have a 2-pronged approach. So the rescue effort is now in kind of 2 parts. One part of the rescue effort is, okay, we know where the guys are. They're alive. We have a way to send them supplies. So let's send them supplies so they can survive. Meanwhile, the other part of the rescue effort is we need to come up with a successful way to actually get the guys out, and we need to do it in a way that won't cause further damage. So, so the miners, they make a little video of themselves. It's grainy, it's black and white. It's, they pack it back into the Paloma. They get it back up to the surface. We know they're down there.
Yeah, they're down there and they're alive. And now we got to get them out. Now it becomes international news, and the world is going to try to come together to find a way to get these guys out after being trapped down half a mile below the earth for weeks now. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about the rescue effort. All right, welcome back to Badass of the Week. We are talking about the Chilean mining disaster. We now know that the miners are alive. It is the 22nd of August, and they've been trapped down there since the 5th. They had 2 days worth of emergency food, and they were able to stretch that for more than 2 weeks to feed 33 people, and every single person down there is still alive. Okay. What was their experience like? Because we can start talking to them now. And the guy who will end up being he's the host of the video journals for the miners. He's kind of their media relations guy, is a guy named Mario Sepulveda. And he's just this super high energy, really like cheerful, optimistic. He's like he's kind of like a beacon of light down in this mine. And he starts to like get the story out of what's happened. Okay. So when the mining collapse happened, there was so much rockfall and debris. It created this huge cloud of dust that basically these guys were down really far down in the mine, and the upper levels all collapsed. And it kicked in so much dust that they were effectively blind for like 6 hours. They couldn't see anything. So, okay, this is, not ideal, but this is something they have trained for. What do? They get it. They kick into their training. The shift foreman is a guy named Luis Urzua. He's 54 years old. He's the guy in charge, and he is going to be the guy in charge for this whole operation. He's the leader of this team, and it's his job to keep these guys alive and get them out of here. So, okay. What are we going to do? We need to get to the refugios that you were talking about. There's supplies there that might help us. One thing that's in there is ladders. There's going to be ladders in there, and we can use these ladders to climb out those ventilation tubes we were talking about. Okay, let's go in there and find them. So he leads his guys into the refugio to get the ladders, and the ladders are not there.
Ooh.
Oops.
Whoops. Stay on top of your safety regulations.
Yeah. Bad news. I mean, those ventilation tubes collapsed though, so maybe it worked out. But So now these guys are down here, and it's dark, and it's hot. It's humid. They're underground in the desert, right? It's 95 degrees with 95% humidity. It's hot, it's sweaty, it's dark. There's 33 guys trapped here with no light. Now, the area that they're trapped in is not like a single room. They have access to the lower parts of the mine. So there are big open areas for guys to get around in. So what does Luis Urzua do? He organizes search teams to get out there and try to see if there's any other way out. Let's scout around. Let's keep patrols going. Okay, we don't think there's no way out. All the possible exits are blocked, but we have faith that our people are going to try to come find us. So, like you said, there was that borehole that came through in the other refugio that didn't get that nobody responded to. It was up on a higher level that they couldn't get to, but Urzua and his guys were like, we've got to, if one of these things comes through, we need to be there to tap on the drill bit and tape our note on it. And so he's got guys doing patrols looking for any signs of rescue, any possible escape vectors. And in the meantime, he has to ration out that 2 weeks of food and a couple flashlights with some batteries that are not going to last for 2 weeks. He's got 2 days of food, and he doesn't know how long it's going to be. So he starts rationing things out. You can turn your flashlight on for a few minutes a day, and everybody starts eating. You've got 33 guys down here, and some of them one of these guys is 63 years old. Another of these guys is diabetic, and they're down there, and they're trying to live off 1 spoonful of tuna fish and 2 sips of milk every 2 days as their ration supply.
Wow.
And
oh, wow.
And they do it. They try to create an escape route. They try to signal for help, and they try to stay psychologically motivated. And a lot of what people kind of contribute this to is like their faith. Like we're gonna like not just religious faith, which they had. There was one of the guys down there was a preacher. Jose Enriquez was a preacher, and he was like their pastor. He's organizing daily prayers. They're setting up a chapel and a shrine to the saints, all of that. But also faith in themselves that they can make it through, faith in their coworkers that they were all going to work together on this, and then faith in the outside world that somebody is going to come get us. I know it's been 2 weeks down here, but somebody's coming, right? We have to stick with it. We can't give up. And they're able to survive. They create a community, much like what was happening up at Camp Hope. And now there's signs from the outside world. But one interesting thing here is that we've connected, right? The surface is speaking to the guys in the mine. We're giving each other the stories back and forth. They're starting to pass food back and forth, but there's a little bit of concern about the food because you can't, if you've been in starvation like that for so long, there's a chance that like if you just sent down a bunch of food and they just ate it all, they'd get super sick or maybe die to cause some kind of weird like carbohydrate reaction that would cause serious problems for them. So they get collaboration and like we said, the world is coming together for this. They get collaboration with NASA, and because NASA understands how to keep people alive in a vacuum far away from resupply.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. The mine, you'd think it's the opposite of outer space, but you've got people trapped in close quarters with limited food and other resources. You need to monitor oxygen levels. You need to monitor health, both physical health and mental health. So it's not unlike being on the International Space Station in some ways. So NASA sends 2 physicians, a psychologist, and an engineer. And this is in addition to everyone else, all of the other experts that the rescue team on the surface is calling in to come up with this rescue plan. So through that borehole, through those palomas, the quote-unquote carrier pigeons, the surface team can send down carefully calibrated food and nutrition and medicine, I would imagine, and also advice on how to eat the food that they're sending down so it doesn't overwhelm your system,
Right.
Also, and then this is making sure that our miners are surviving and how do we, now that we know where they are, how do we actually get to them? Because as we know, there's a risk of extra rock fall. The mine is huge. So what they decide to do on the surface is put in 3 different plans to create the actual rescue tunnel for the miners.
And nothing like this has ever been done. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When they had been discovered on the 22nd, they'd already been buried underground longer than any human had ever been. Right? This is completely unprecedented what's happening here. No human had ever lived that long underground, especially after like a cave-in or something. And so there's no plan for getting these guys out. We've got to just try something. So big drills. Let's just see if we can bore a hole that's wide enough for a man to fit his shoulders through.
Yeah. So they have 3 different
And like
attempts.
you said, do it without collapsing the tunnel on top of them.
Yeah, without causing further damage. So there are 3 plans, Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. And you can look up all of the technical details of them online. Plan A is a drilling rig built by an Australian company that's sent over by a South African mining company. That's a little bit of Southern Hemisphere solidarity there.
Yeah.
Plan B is a Chilean American joint venture. It's actually a U.S. built rig that's already there in Chile, but they have to ship in additional parts.
Yeah, the guy. There was a story that there was a guy in Pennsylvania who owned a mining company, and he was watching the coverage of this on TV, and he was like, I don't know, I think I got a big drill. I bet I could send that down there. Maybe we can. I'll call up Chile and see if they could use a big giant drill. Well, his was more of like a hammer. His was designed as like instead of being like a rotating drill, it was like a pulverizing hammer that smashed the rock repeatedly. I don't know, like a jackhammer kind of thing, but on a massive, like, I don't know, scale you'd see in like a cartoon about giant robots fighting or something.
Sure. Yep. This is just the scale of this is astounding. Mm-hmm. And Plan C is a Canadian-made rig sent over by a Canadian company. And okay, so Ben, which one of which one of these badass drills or hammers or whatever do you think makes it there first?
Well, it's concerning that they start these three and they're called Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. That's like a little concerning for that. I feel like if I was a miner down there, they'd be like, well, we've got three plans. So I don't know. Okay, so Plan A is rotating drills. You were talking about the scale of this stuff. The drill on Plan A needed 10 gallons of water per second to cool the drill. And you're in the desert, so they had to truck that in, unlike in big like water trucks all day long. And then B was the big hammer, and then C was like a huge, like, for like drilling oil in like the ocean. So just a monster scale. But the problem with that one was that it was going to take like 9 days to set it up, I feel like. So all of these are interesting. I'm not sure how does this go?
Okay, so Plan A, the Australian-built one sent over by the South Africans, it gets to begin its drilling first, but about 85% of the way there, it encounters too much rock debris. And if it had bored further, it would have created additional rock debris. I mean, or so much debris that the miners or someone would have had to remove it. And I'm guessing these 33 miners are in no position to do any digging that they don't absolutely need to. So Plan A, okay, not so much. Plan C, the one built by the Canadians, it's the last one to start, and it's actually a very powerful machine. It's making great progress. It can bore out a huge hole, but it's like aiming a cannon at a pinhead or something. And also, the rock that it encounters is really hard, which bumps the drill off course. It's really difficult to reposition the drill while it's still in the ground. So if they realize that they're off course, they have to take it out, like remove it, resize it, reposition it, et cetera, send it down again. So Plan C gets 62% of the way to the miners. Now, by process of elimination, we got Plan B.
Plan B. And Plan B was not like a smooth operation either. It's the big hammer. It's like a jackhammer that pulverizes the rock and smashes it up so you can dig down. The on-site lead was a guy named Jim Stefanik, American guy. And at 2 points during the operation, the drill head breaks. And they've got to pull it out, and then they've got to basically make like a fishing hook and send it down there. On the first one, they have to basically create this like fish hook and send it down there to try to grab the broken drill head and pull it up out of the hole, because that's easier. That's going to be faster than trying to drill a new hole, because it takes like you're not. This is the Andes Mountains you're trying to drill through here, and so it's hard rock, and it's a slow process, just little bit by little bit every day. And the drill head breaks. They have to send a piece down there to fish it out, and then the second time it breaks, the drill head, like they put a new drill head on, it drills down even further. It starts to break through, and then the drill head breaks again and falls down into the mine.
Oh.
And the miners down there send a video of it, and they're like, hey, I think you guys lost something down here. And Stefanik was talking about it, and he was like, yeah, I've never received like feedback on my mining operations from below the drill. That was new for me. But they fixed that head. It took 3 drill heads, but they did it. 3 jackhammer heads, but they got it. And like you said, October 9th, 2010, they break through to the miners.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We've got a hole that goes down there that's big enough now. And what do we do with it?
Well, the whole point is to rescue the miners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to come
knotted rope, climb on up?
No. Oh, goodness, no. And we're not sending down, we're not sending down just like a bucket that they can climb into. So there are all sorts of considerations. You have to make sure that whatever you're sending down can go all the way and also can go down smoothly, because you don't want any bumping around that you don't need. You need to make sure that the miners are safe. The miners might, you have to keep in mind health problems that the miners might have or might encounter on the way up. You also want to keep in mind the miners' psychological well-being. Are they going to be able to communicate with the surface while this is going on? So, a Chilean shipbuilding company, Astilleros y Maestranzas de la Armada, or ASMAR for short, in collaboration with NASA, designs capsules, rescue capsules, and they call them Phoenix, which is Spanish for, yes, Phoenix.
Oh,
and
I knew that.
Yeah. So a Phoenix capsule is 21 inches in diameter. Okay, we're going to do the can of seltzer thing again. So, okay, like visualize 21 inches.
We're gonna need to send a Phoenix capsule of seltzer to you, I feel like, after this.
Yes, there we go. So 21 inches or 55 centimeters for listeners who are elsewhere, not in the United States. If you take two pieces of US-sized printer paper end to end, that's 22 inches. Or if you're using cans of seltzer, it's like maybe if you stack up 4 1/3 cans of seltzer on top of one another, that's approximately what we're going for. That's how wide our capsule is.
Right. This is Bruce Willis climbing through the air shaft in Die Hard. Yeah, this is not. Yeah. This is a tight fit. You are standing pencil straight, arms down, no movement. This is the biggest hole we're going to make, and if we make anything bigger than this, there's a chance it's going to collapse the mine on you guys. So this is it.
Yep.
You're going to have to lock yourself in this basically torpedo for 15 minutes while we pull you out.
Yes. And the capsule itself is about 4 meters tall, 12 feet tall, but about half of that length is needed for machinery. So it's, you're squeezed in the one dimension, you're also squeezed in the other dimension. This is not spacious. And so the top part of the capsule is where a lot of the machinery is. That's where it's hooked to the rope, the winch, whatever. And if the capsule gets stuck, there's a mechanism in place where the miner can detach his part from the top part. The Phoenix has retractable wheels to help it move through the tunnel. Now, just because you have a carefully designed capsule manufactured, it doesn't mean that you can start rescuing people right away. What they do is they actually send down supplies for each miner to prepare for the way up. So they need to start going on a liquid diet. I mean, a liquid diet with like the right amount of electrolytes and sugar, and they also send down for each miner. They can only bring up one miner at a time. So they send down a guy to help them with this. Each miner gets sent dark sunglasses, a chest belt to monitor vital signs, an oxygen mask and oxygen tanks, a set of coveralls that's water resistant, but which still allows sweat to escape. I mean, imagine yourself inside this capsule. There's a helmet, which has
15 minutes
communication.
is a long time.
Yes. Yeah. And also compression wraps to prevent thrombosis. I didn't
even think about that, but yeah, it's elevation gain, right? So it is,
yeah.
With diving, the distances are much, much smaller than this, and a lot of weird stuff can happen.
Yeah.
But this is like elevation gain. This is like climbing the mountain in 15 minutes, which does run the risk of you passing a blood clot. That happens at elevation gain. So you're climbing from sea level to the top of the Andes Mountains in 15 minutes. That's a lot.
Yeah. Another detail, copper underwear to help prevent fungus.
No, you got to be careful.
Yeah. And
I didn't know the copper underwear had that effect.
I don't know. Maybe they just have a lot of copper lying around, but yeah, probably different. I honestly I haven't researched it too much, but that is part of the getup, part of the gear, and also a safety harness with 5 hooks to help you be safe inside the, strapped inside the Phoenix. And then, so this capsule on the surface, you also need to set up a huge concrete platform to stabilize the winching rigs, the whole getup that you have to bring the capsule up and down. They run some safety tests. The surface team is ready to go. They send down aspirin to prevent blood clots. And the miners, there's a 6-hour lead time between the supplies, like the aspirin and the electrolytes going down, and the first miner making the upward journey. So it's been 60 days, 2 months?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long time. And the families have been there the whole time. They've been camping out and sitting vigil. And there's been some fun moments where Chile played a soccer match against Ukraine, and they were able to get it on a screen they were able to get a screen down to the miners to watch the game, and the guys in the camp up north were watching, or up top were watching it. So everybody was watching the game together and singing the national anthem and all that stuff. Chile lost, but it was a fun moment.
It's the experience.
And they've been kind of pinwheeling in the camp back and forth, because at first they thought there was hope we were going to find these people. Then they thought maybe they were all dead. Then we found them, and that's exciting. Then the drills start showing up, and as these trucks are rolling in, everybody's there cheering. They got to drive past in order to build these cranes and these winches, and all this equipment has to come in on trucks. And the camp is there, and the families are cheering like, "Let's go! We're gonna do this." And then as the days drag on and on and on, and these different drills run into these different problems, the drill heads are breaking. We can't get them out. We can't figure this out. The guys down in the mine, they're putting on a brave face for the cameras, but they're writing letters. They're able to get letters up to the surface. And some of those letters are like, I don't know how much longer we can take this. Like, it's so hard down here, and it sucks. And, these families have to read these letters every day. And so, they alternated between thinking this is a done deal. We found them. We're going to get them out. And maybe we're not. It's not obvious that this is going to have a happy ending. To the people who are here. And so even this last bit, this is the most dangerous part of the whole thing. We've got to, it's not just, like you said, it's not just an elevator to the top of the Empire State Building. This is a weird contraption that has been built for this purpose. And we have never tested it. We don't know if it's going to work. We've built it, and let's see, we're hoping. But there's a lot of uncertainty, and there's a lot of praying, and there's a lot of hoping for the people at Camp Esperanza. So they're all there, and it's October, and they've got to try. So the first capsule goes down.
Inside that capsule is a rescue expert from the surface, Manuel Gonzalez. So he goes down. It takes 18 minutes to lower him all the way down into the mine. It's the world's longest elevator ride, in a way. So he gets out, and the first of the 33 miners goes in, and they chose someone who was one of the healthiest, one of the most robust, just to make sure everything was, okay, as okay as possible. And the miner that they choose to go in first is Florencio Avalos.
Yes. And his dad and brother are up there waiting for him. Alfonso and Wilson are waiting at the surface for him to come up. He gets in. He's got to wear sunglasses because they haven't seen the sun in 2 months, right? So, and they're doing it at night. But he's still got to wear the sunglasses just because the lights, like the lights from the media and they need lights to operate this thing, are so bright that it could cause eye damage to him. So, okay, he's got the sunglasses on. They pull him up, and he emerges. The doors open. He's okay. His family goes and grabs him. They do the medical checks. He has a reunion with his friends. Everybody's cheering. Everybody's happy all around the world. Everybody's watching this. Like, I watched this live on TV. I remember that. And this had been international news for months. And so when they pull him out, it's everybody's cheering, everybody's happy, they're crying. And like you said, it's 18 minutes down each way. So they've got to pull everybody else out, and they start sending the capsule down, and it's a long, slow process. They wheel the capsule down, they put a guy in it, they bring him back up. More and more people start to come out. 10 miners, 20. The final capsule, the last man out, is Luis Urzua, the foreman. He's still the leader at the very end. He was the last guy out, and all 33 miners survive. So it's this huge moment of the world coming together to do something good, and human perseverance and badassery and all of this. These guys all held through. They had a long road ahead of them. There's a lot of physical recovery. There's a lot of emotional recovery. Some of these guys have a lot of trauma associated with being buried alive for 2 months, which is
understandable.
Yes. It's a tale of perseverance and toughness, human resilience, the will to live, the power of leadership and camaraderie, and having faith in your friends and your family, and that having faith that there will be smart people out there that will come and get you.
Yes.
And
NASA.
Yes, exactly. Global cooperation, right?
Global cooperation, yeah. And there are leadership lessons to be taken from this. Actually, Harvard Business Review did a case study, published a case study, an article. Your leader has to maintain hope and motivation, but also, convey a realistic view of the scenario.
Yeah. I guess I'll end this with a lighter note, because this is kind of this heavy moment. So I will say that every year the Washington Post does a competition for people to make dioramas using marshmallow peeps.
Yes.
And so when I was living in Boston in 2010 when this happened, and so my girlfriend and we made a diorama of the Chilean mining rescue using marshmallow peeps.
Awesome.
That was our entry to that competition. So I will always, when I see the picture of the wheel and the winch and the phoenix and everything, I always think about that diorama because we built that out of cardboard and painted it, and then put little hard hats on the marshmallow peeps. It was
awesome.
I don't know. I always think about that. I'll find a picture of it somewhere. I'm sure it exists. I'll find it.
Yes.
To send it to you.
I have to say, when we started this episode, I knew it was going to be quite a journey, but I did not expect it to end with marshmallow peeps.
We should do a Badass of the Week marshmallow peeps competition where you can do a diorama of your favorite badass and marshmallow peeps.
Yes, we totally should.
That's something for a different episode, I think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Pat, thank you so much for coming on and telling us the story.
Thank you, Ben.
This felt really, I don't know. I like these stories where everybody lived. It's one of these weird stories.
Yes.
One of these weird episodes of Badass where everybody's alive at the end of the episode.
Yes.
But I like that. It's inspirational.
It is.
All right. And thank you guys all for listening to this one. We hope you liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe and do all the things that you're supposed to do to generate engagement for us, because we appreciate it. It helps. I don't generate enough engagement in my regular life, and it's nice to have you guys help us with that online. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week with a new Badass.
Stay badass.
Badass of the Week is produced by High Five Content. Executive producers are me, Ben Thompson, Dr. Patricia Larish, and Andrew Jacobs. Writing is by me and Pat. Story editing by Ian Jacobs. Mixing and music and sound design by Jude Brewer. Special thanks to Noel Brown at iHeartRadio. Badass of the Week is based on my website, badassoftheweek.com, where you can read all sorts of stories about other badasses. If you want to reach out with questions or ideas, you can email us at badasspodcast@badassoftheweek.com. If you like this podcast, please subscribe, follow, listen, and tell your friends and tell your enemies. And please leave us a rating. We'll be back next week with another one.